about a song with ice and fire. So grab a lighter, and a cold drink. Go, 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 go. Grab a lighter and a cold drink. Go, 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 go. It's go time.
That's right. It's go time. What's going on, everybody? AA Ron here.
Ready to repeat?
And we're here to review Season 8, Episode 5 of Game of Thrones, The Bells.
More like 7 Hell's Bells.
Yeah, Hell's Bells. Oh, man, was that a fucking crazy show and tell of, well, a Mad Queen. Not the Mad Queen that you might have been thinking, or maybe you had it figured out all along. But, man, has this rifted the fans even more. But we'll get into that towards the end. Maybe our version of a Game of Thrones Final Blast.
Yeah. I mean, we have to talk about the last episode at some point in time, so maybe that's when we'll do it.
Yeah, as it rolls into that. But, man, I mean, right out of the gate, me and Pete were both, hearts are pounding, just like, the anticipation for Episode 3 of this season, the build-up. But before we even got to any of the actual last war, there was a little treachery afoot that needed to be taken care of, and that's where we started this episode last week. So let me go ahead and pop up the slideshow here. And what is that? Well, a little note that says somebody is the heir to the Iron Throne, the true heir, and that is Aegon the Sixth.
That's right. He's writing the truth. That's what he's writing about Jon Aegon the Sixth. But it gets interrupted by one of his little birds, right?
Yeah, man, Varys the Spider, dude. I mean, hey, he's been working his webs for the entire series. Yeah, and if you guys remember, that little bird actually was the one that was with him in the crypts at Winterfell when Tyrion and Sansa came around the corner and they were all hiding. That was the same bird.
I didn't realize it. Okay.
So pretty interesting. But yeah, he I think he kind of realizes this is.
I think that was kind of. She was about to try to poison her.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was totally a poison thing.
It was all about she worked in the kitchen. Did she eat? She's not eating or drinking.
He's like, ah.
The soldiers are watching me. He goes, of course they are. Run along now.
Yeah, he goes, greater the risk. Yeah.
The greater the reward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's totally Varys, man. He's waiting for, I think. Ultimately, he says he's for the realm, but I think there's a little bit of him that thinks I do this greatest to get the greatest good, and I will have the best life possible.
Yeah, using children to win over his ultimate task was just to save more children.
Right.
Apparently.
Yeah. And how many of those little birds got the word that Jon Snow is the true heir?
True.
You know, how many of those did they send out?
There was a bunch of stuff that happened between that moment with his little bird and later on, so he could have very well sent quite a few ravens out.
Yeah, who knows, man? Maybe we'll find out in the episode tonight. But, as Varys tries to plot Dany's destruction...
he talks to Jon on the beach, right?
Yeah, and not so whispery when he talks to him.
Pretty forward about, you demand whether you like it or not, she's not, and you know what she's about to do. And Jon's like, yeah, but she's my queen, so F off.
Yeah, he's like, look, when a Targaryen's born, we hold our breath and flip a coin.
Yeah.
And hope that it's either good or bad, and that's pretty much the 50-50 split with these. And he's like, she landed on the wrong side, and... Varys says, Jon, you landed on the right. And that's when I think Jon realized, oh, shit, he knows. And he's like, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
I don't want it.
Well, it wasn't too whispery because Tyrion was peeking below. And
and he ends up talking to Dany. He's like, I have to out now, Varys, right?
Yeah, but she was mad because she's like, look, if... if Varys knows, that means somebody told him. It was you.
She already knew, just didn't know exactly who, because she called him out, like, let me guess, Jon betrayed me. He goes, no, it was Varys. Then she nailed it. She, knew the exact order of how it all, the telephone went, Mm-hmm.
So, and then she's like, well, he's going to have to get it because he's the one who actually acted on the treachery, where Tyrion just didn't say anything, but he's walking an extremely thin line, thinner than he's ever walked before.
I don't know about everyone else, but I thought at that moment that I was waiting for a Grey Worm or someone just to come out of the shadows and like kill the little guy.
Like he was gonna go too. Yeah.
Like right then and there though, because she was like laying it on the line, like and snapped her fingers, like kill him. But that didn't happen. But what did happen was she was seething, pissed about Sansa, and I was like, Sansa's in trouble.
Hold up, my slideshow is a little messed up. At one point, I was taking pictures of things I shouldn't have been. Not that it's anything bad. It's just I had pictures of my OBS with the screenshot I wanted to take, so that's pretty awesome. But yeah. So anyway, while I'm deleting those,
so what? So there's some OBS stuff at the bottom, but
yeah, it's not a big deal. But yeah, so I mean, hey. But we could have saw Tyrion go at the same point. He didn't. But hey, did he really tell Varys what's up? I mean, he's told him it was me, but also like, hey, friend, you know, he touched him, which many people probably never touch.
That was probably his first human contact. But even before that happened, you know, Dany looked extra lost in the eyes, like, yet, you know, committed to what comes next. Like, you could tell that, you know, she's like, there's really no one left. You know, in Grey Worm, you know, he brings Varys to the execution spot, and that's exactly right. Tyrion gives him a little touch on the arm, and that's the first time you see Varys like kind of show.
Yeah, he actually looked emotion. A little scared, but hey, does he have some balls? Not really.
Not really.
Yeah, but does he? Does he when he's the one who's spreading the word and faces that dragon like a true man?
That's right, and just like the fire that scorched his junk. Said he will die of dragon fire. He died of dragon fire.
Oh yeah.
And boy, was that spooky with Dragon coming out of the darkness. And just when you thought he was going to set him aflame, he had to kind of reposition his wings and everything.
And it was quick, no screams or nothing. It's like insta death. It's pretty much like shooting a laser beam.
Yeah,
like,
you turn to ash immediately.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. So with that threat down the drain, Dany and Grey Worm have their last moment about Missandei. Yeah. But kind of almost reflecting on what Missandei said before she died, Grey Worm throws her old neck bracelet into the fire, kind of saying, like, forget that. I can remember her without that. Let's burn it down. Let's burn away.
Let's do what she said.
Yeah,
Dracarys the F out of everything.
So as she set it around the fire, another one came to console her because I think Jon kind of knew that he needed to step in and see what was the matter. But
and this is totally when I was like, all right, they're finally going to make love and they're going to be king and queen together. This is going to be the beginning of the next chapter of their lives. And what does he do? He backs away again from her kisses, and she's like, well. Before they kiss, she's like, more people will love you than ever love me, you know. And then when things are seeming to go great, you know, and they're about to hook up, Jon chokes up and Dany says, well, let it be fear then. If that's not a warning, I don't know what is.
I think there are many things that kind of start adding up to be the last straw for her throughout this show. And this is where, you know, we'll start kind of pressing on that matter of, was it too abrupt for her? There could have been a few more episodes, but ultimately, we've seen it this season, her being alienated as a character from the beginning of the season. And now especially, after everything's gone, the only true friend she has is Grey Worm, and the advisors that she thought she had, she can't trust. And then Jon, the last person she thought that loved her, can't love her the way that she needs it. And at this point, she's kind of like, I know, right? And she's kind of like, it's like those strings, like poing, poink. There's like one string holding it all together right now in her little head. And
it's not even a string. It's like a silky piece of onion. It's about to just slide right off of her fingernails.
Exactly. It's like she's so teetered at this point.
But she tightened it all up because when she was at the Dragonstone throne and she gave that talk to Tyrion while Grey Worm was listening, made me wonder, did she already plan stuff out with Grey Worm?
I think so.
Or is he just on the same page no matter what?
And at this point too, I think Daenerys had already, like you said, had already planned it out, and she was so blind with rage about the whole bells thing. She already knew about Jaime crossing the line and everything, that when Tyrion asked about the bells, she just nodded to kind of almost get him to shut up. Like, she was already not trying to listen to it.
That's true. When she nodded at Grey Worm, and Grey Worm, like, nodded back, he looked right at Tyrion's back of Tyrion's head. Like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think she already had it decided in that moment.
Yeah, when he begged for the bells to, if you hear the bells, this and that, I was thinking to myself, well, if she doesn't say anything, like, what does it matter? Like, what if the bells don't ring because the towers go down? Like, at that point, that's what I was thinking, you know?
Hopefully there's other bells. But all in all, it was kind of on deaf ears to her, though I think she still heard it. Even though she was trying to ignore it, she still knows that if the bells ring, that's what Tyrion wants. Tyrion wants that to stop if the bells ring.
Sure.
So she orders them to go ahead and go to meet the rest of the men and wait for her outside of the gates because to Grey Room, she says, you'll know when it's time.
Yeah.
And
for my signal. We'll talk
right.
about that shortly.
So Jon jumps in with Tyrion. They all go up to the rest of the cavalry and get ready. But before the next morning, Tyrion needs to go see a certain prisoner that Dany's
I don't know why she
found.
told him that he was captured, that Jaime was captured, but she did.
Yeah.
And then Tyrion found good old Davos to finagle the keys, I guess, right?
Well, not even that. It was to get that dinghy to the cove for him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he was like, can you smuggle something for me? And then later tells Jaime, I'm going to have a dinghy at that cave for you and Cersei to leave
Oh, that's
from.
right. He left the dinghy there.
Right.
Davos is good about that.
Yeah, he's
saving
good.
people with dinghies.
Yeah, not too bad. His dinghy. But then we get the touching moment between the two Lannister brothers. Their last moment together, actually.
It was a very tense goodbye. I mean, it was just the fact that. I mean, I was pretty taken by the fact that when he told him he would never survive his childhood without him, like I really believed that. You know what I mean? Like,
I was getting choked up during that
it,
scene,
yeah.
man. But their whole plan, okay, in general with Jaime's arc, this is my little spiel on that. Ultimately, I am disappointed with how he went about his self, but I'm not disappointed in the writing. Again, more episodes could have sprawled it out a little more. It wouldn't have seemed so abrupt with him and Brienne.
Yes.
But I knew he was going to get with Brienne eventually because he was, in his truest and best self, trying to pull away from Cersei because Brienne showed him his truest and best self. She really did. She brought that side of himself back up to the surface, and that's why I knew they were going to be together eventually. But also, just like he said before, why do the gods make me hate such a hateful woman or love such a hateful woman?
Mm-hmm.
Cersei is pretty much like a drug to Jaime, and even though
Yes.
he's been sober for a season and a half, or like about a half a season and then been on Brienne instead. He had to get that Cersei fix when he heard that she could eventually be gone from this world.
Yeah.
He had to go get that one last fix, and that one last fix could end up being his demise.
Yeah. The one last fix to fix them in.
Yeah.
They got to take their last breaths together, perhaps.
So is it my favorite ending for him? No, but does it make sense that he eventually, and we'll talk about it, goes down with Cersei? Yes. Mm-hmm. And the touching moment between him and Tyrion totally just kind of soothed that wound for me until later in the episode.
Yeah, I really do think that was an important thing to have in an episode, and it was kind of like a nice little ending between the two of them.
Yeah,
I was
I think
satisfied if they were not going to see each other again, and that's the way they went out,
But before we end up today break, a couple more friendly faces pop up in the camp just to stroll through.
Yeah.
The Hound and Arya.
They do. They pass through, and they're like, there won't even be a siege or a war.
Yeah, because I'm gonna go kill Cersei, and it's gonna be
tell
done.
my captain. Okay, you do that.
Yeah, you
They
do
ride
that,
on.
and we're gonna go ahead and go then. So now we have 3 individuals heading towards the Red Keep in disguise, in the darkness.
During the whole time, everyone's bottlenecking, trying to get through into the Red Keep walls.
Right, and they're just swooping through. So that actually puts us to the day of the last war, and as everybody is preparing, Tyrion then even tries to tell Jon about the bells and remind him to call off his men for that.
And what does Jon do? He just stares at him,
Right.
and then walks off. There's no nod. There's not okay. There's just
Oh yeah, and then we get to see the Golden Company too. We get to see Harry Strickland and all his men.
Yeah, the Gold Company's ready outside along with the Iron Fleet that's ready on the other side of the city.
And then as everybody else prepares and tries to get deeper within the walls, we slowly enter into the craziness that is the last war. But before I show you a cool clip that starts off the last war, let's go ahead and do a little map talk and kind of show you guys what's going down in King's Landing. Swoop. All right. So here we have the Red Keep. All right. Nice little map we found. That's where Cersei is, Qyburn, the mountain. And behind her, Blackwater Bay, where the Iron Fleet resides. Mm-hmm. All right. Let me see if I can get my brush to work tonight. Whoops.
Marching ants, you're about to take out all of Blackwater Bay.
Yeah, no shit, man.
One fell swoop.
I like how this just doesn't, like, when I have all this shit hooked up, that pen doesn't work, pen display doesn't work. And then for some reason, this doesn't want to work either. Like, I don't get it. Hold on, guys. Let me just mess around real quick.
Well, Cersei's looking on. It's amazing how she's in so much denial about everything that she's seen, because at this point, no one really knows when the battle's going to begin, but as it goes along, she's just...
Well, I can't get that to work. But yeah, so Cersei, she's totally in denial. Yeah. Whatever, fuck her. So anyway, we'll get back to her in a second. So there's the Red Keep, guys. So as we're going off, I believe Jon and Davos and them are over here at the gate, the far gate, the Gate of the Gods. I believe that's where they're at. They could be at the Old Gate, too.
Or the Lion Gate. Oh, yeah.
Old Gate or the Lion Gate. But I believe they're over here at this gate.
Yeah, it makes sense because it's the opposite side of
the Red Keep.
The Red Keep, yeah.
Right, that's where I'm thinking that's
correct,
at. Yeah. So they're over there chilling, waiting, and the Gold Company's out. And then again, you have Lannister soldiers all throughout the town. Ignore the Great Sept because that's no longer there. But then all the way at the Red Keep, you have more Lannister soldiers, of course. You have the Iron Fleet, and then you have the Scorpions lining all the way around the walls of King's Landing, and definitely...
Yeah, every single tower has a modified, stronger, faster, spinning Scorpion shooter. I believe the Lannister army is controlling the shooters on the walls, and the Iron Fleet's got their own badass ones at the front of each ship.
And speaking of those Scorpions, let's go ahead and start off here with the Iron Fleet.
Euron gets to see exactly how this little war/siege begins, doesn't he?
What? So taking a book out of one of her ancestors, actually, Aegon the Conqueror's
Or a book out of Top Gun, because here comes a dive bomb F-18.
Some people were like, it's so dumb that she was so OP, and before he could take out her dragons, I was like, well, look, this is the thing. Euron took out a dragon without a rider, for one. Dany saw how Euron can shoot those, so she learned, for two. She's a great dragon rider and can dodge, for three.
And dragon's the best.
And four, she's dive bombing using the sun, so she's going up and down so quick they can't turn around quick enough to hit her. So
but she knows how to dodge them now because she's already been shot at multiple times. You know. Right,
exactly. So she at this point she knows what she's doing. To dodge and get out of the situation, but man, does she do some destruction. The entire Iron Fleet goes down.
Yeah.
And it's not just 11 ships like when they killed Rhaegal.
No, yeah, it was
it's like 100 ships more. Or something.
And she does it all on her lonesome. Yep. She takes out the whole effing fleet.
Whole fleet, man.
The
they
whole
have no
fleet.
Chance.
No Iron Fleet anymore. This time, Dragon and Dany are striking, with fierce precision, too. I mean, the fact that she was swooping down and swooping away and swooping back down, it was like she was taking out multiple boats. In one swoop.
In one false blast, and taking out boats, and then when she was done, she headed straight for King's Landing, and decided to go around the whole perimeter and take out all those.
She continues her obliteration.
Yeah, just took out all the Scorpions. That was like her main focus first. Take out the weapons that can kill me.
Yeah, she took out all those mounted Scorpion shooters in the magnificent blast from behind. Behind what?
the gates.
That's right. That's the signal, I guess, huh?
Yeah, the signal. She's like, I'm letting my dudes in. Knock, knock, knock. Here I come.
Every single Gold Company soldier, cavalryman, and stuff were standing in front of that gate. All of them.
There were some that are on the sides of the gate, so not all of them died in that blast, but all of them died within the next few minutes because either more Dragonfire or Dothraki riders or Unsullied or Northmen.
It was a jaw-dropping moment for me.
That was very shocking.
Because it's like, the fleet's gone. The Scorpion shooters are gone. Now the Golden Company has been scorched from behind with the gates and the walls of the gates being completely obliterated.
If anything shocked me this entire episode, it was the fact that the Golden Company didn't even fight. They just got blasted.
And the fact that Strickland went running in retreat. And good old Grey Worm's like, I'll just chuck this spear through you, and that's the end of that.
Hey, the Golden Company.
That's pretty much the end of the Gold Company right
They
there.
had such more deeper story in the books, but they are also introduced in the books way earlier, too, because there's Targaryens involved, Targaryen bastards. But that's not in this story, right? In the books, there's already a character named Aegon Targaryen, who actually is the son of Rhaegar and the Martell chick that he was married to. So Jon might not even be called Aegon in the books. He'll probably be called, like, Rhaegar in the books. So there's already another male Targaryen ahead of Jon with the heir. I wonder what's going to happen there.
Both very cool names that people will be naming their pets and children for years to come.
Yeah, probably. So as Dany continues to destroy everything, we finally get to see, some of our characters make their way. You get to see Jaime after getting kind of pushed out of the loop because there's so many people and all these gates closing. He knows his way around King's Landing. He was able to find his way to that secret little cove that Tyrion wanted him to escape from. And who did he run into but none other than Euron?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they get to have their little battle together. As the Dothraki cavalry is slicing through the Lannister soldiers on the inside like butter, this is all happening on the little shores of Blackwater Bay's Cove area.
Which part?
Are you talking about Euron battling?
Oh, so Euron's doing the battling at the Cove, and then meanwhile, Jon and all the other guys, like the Unsullied and all of them, they're all blasting in from the gate that was blown in. So you have all that happening. You have no idea where the Hound and Arya at this point, but as Jon and them make it further up, Dany's blowing up everything. It's crazy. You even have Cersei, you can complete the dial mode.
Look at the look on her face.
Oh, yeah, she's angry there. But Cersei's in complete denial. I mean, at this point, she's like, one good shot, and Qyburn's like, Scorpions are down. She's like...
The fleet. And then he's like, the fleet has been burned to nothing.
She's like, the Red Keep, and he's like, you're delusional.
Yeah, no, she was pretty much like, when she found out that all the Gold Company and all the fleet were gone, she was then like, well, our men, her Lannister guys, they fight way better than and then paid and bought, groups of men.
He's like, nope.
They were being more easily killed than any of the others, that's for sure.
And it started to seem there that, Dany's army was going to win. I mean...
Yeah, even the men of the North followed up.
Yeah.
They were in the siege as well at that point, or should I say the slaughter, but...
I mean, but hey, just the slaughter of at this point, just the Lannister soldiers, and it was... coming together, and Dany landed.
Dany made bulk hits to take out soldiers, but when she landed and perched, I thought, well, this is the ultimate, just like intimidation factor.
That's what I thought too. Yeah, she's
roaring
like,
and all that.
Right, of course.
And then she stayed there, and they showed Tyrion from afar watching, and he's looking at the bell tower, looking at her, looking at this, looking at that.
And after rewatching it, you actually hear people in the background say, "Go ring the bell!"
Yeah,
ring the bell. Like they're, and because Cersei at this point, she's not giving the command to surrender. No. That's the soldiers being like, "We gotta fucking surrender."
This is just regular people being like, "This is life or death now.
Let's ring the bell." So. As the suspense builds and builds, and you see the fear and anger on Dany's face, she looks around, realizing she's all alone up there, noticing the Red Keep as it sits, the thing she's yearned for her whole life. Everybody's in tension. Jon's waiting. Tyrion's waiting.
Well, also, Jon's not just waiting. At this point, Jon and Davos and Grey Worm have a standoff.
Yes.
With a large group of Lannister swords whom seem to lower their weapons in defeat. And this seems, Dany and Dragon start only, striking fear with the roars, like we said, while perched over the city. But her next action leads Grey Worm and many others to attack armed or unarmed men. And what's her next action?
Well, that final string snaps as the bells
Yes.
ding and ring.
That last little string we were talking
Yeah,
about.
I think it was mainly to the point where it was like she had so much adrenaline going. She just did what she was coming to do, but when she finished, it wasn't satisfying to her.
No.
And the bells rang, and she thought in her head, this is at least what I'm thinking, she thought in her head, Tyrion said if the bells ring, it's ended. Well, Tyrion's been disappointing me. He's just wanting his family to live. Basically, F that bitch. She's been doing everything to make me get any anger.
No, you don't tell me when to stop.
Right.
I stop when I want to stop. I've done everything on my own.
Yes.
So the
She's
fact
like,
that
right.
it reminded me of a cuckoo clock, and
Right.
Cuckoo,
Mm-hmm.
like that,
Yeah.
and then the look on her face at that moment
Yeah, what a great actor,
was even
man.
10 times more than when she walked off angry when Missandei died, and then that was even 10 times more intense than the look on her face when Tyrion told her like that there's treason on her.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, she
just-
said it back in like season 2 when they got to Quarth. She says, "I will take what's mine with fire and blood." She's always thought that her whole little life, her little narcissistic life.
It wasn't just hard talk. It was.
She's always
true feeling.
Yeah, true feeling. She's always thought that she was destined to take what she's always been destined to have. She just always had good people to bring out her pureness, but nobody was there. She was alone. Everybody was
Right.
poking and prodding at a dragon. What do you think you're gonna do if you're gonna poke and prod even at the nicest dragon? It's gonna burn shit down.
Right.
And that's what she does.
And then from minute 46 to minute 79, the very last minute, of course, they interrupted to break it up a little bit with scenes
Right.
of the Hound and the Jaime and
Right.
the this and the that. But yeah, that's pretty much what she did from that point on was
destroy.
destroy as much of the city and whoever is in between the walls of the city.
Yeah, because
as
it's not
possible.
just soldiers there anymore. There's a million people in the city,
Yeah.
and she's scorching. She's like mowing the lawn. She's going back. She's making rows, going back and forth in this motherfucker, dude. At this point, she was.
She was mowing the lawn with a blowtorch.
I mean, look, my first reaction was she was flying straight for the Red Keep and just gonna go kill Cersei. But no, she's like, "Hi, you think I'm flying at you? Nope, I'm gonna fucking mow down half the city, then come at you for a little bit, take the tower down, then go back to the city for a little bit, then come back and destroy the tower, then back to the city."
Yeah, and those continuing swoopings and stuff, they didn't really show her face anymore at that point. But it made me wonder, like, if they did have a couple of scenes that they edited out, if they did have her with that snarling look or something like that, I think they may have missed a little bit. I mean, they did so well.
Oh, just showing her face while she was doing that.
just a couple quick, like 2-second shots here and there,
Right.
just to show the pure raw anger,
Oh,
just
yeah.
to show like not like some people probably were watching her like, oh, she doesn't have control of the dragon. No, that's not it. Or oh, she still sees some soldiers mingling in retreat with the regular
No.
people, and she's like, sorry about you, casualties of war.
No.
But no,
She's
it was
just doing
just
it to do it. She's doing it at this
yeah.
point to completely prove her point. But as she's blasting, we have the conclusion to the Jaime Euron fight. As Euron gets some great stabs into Jaime, Jaime ultimately stands up and stabs the king in the belly. Interesting, right? He stabbed one king in the back, stabbed the so-called King Euron in the
Why?
belly.
Because he effed the queen.
Right.
I'll cut your head off, Jaime. Deliver it to Cersei so she can give you one last kiss, and that was it.
Yeah.
Gold Hand Boy snapped, got stabbed in both kidneys, and then skewered Euron,
Yeah.
which we were all waiting for a long time.
But just like true character Euron is, he, even in death, was loving the exhilaration of it and saying that
that
killed Jaime. Yeah, so he had his little scene, blah, blah. And then we finally get Arya and the Hound making it to the Red Keep in the map room, actually, as it's crumbling it down. And really great touching moment between those two, because at this point, the Hound is the closest father figure Arya has.
Yeah.
The Hound was one of Arya's teachers along the way, one of her many teachers who taught her about death.
Protector, teacher, all that. And just reality check person.
Right. Yeah, really, really. I mean, kept it real with her 100% of the time.
And that's what he did in this last scene. I
Yeah.
mean, his big paw behind her neck.
I like that, man.
Like, just
that
put
focus
her in check. Yeah. And he realized, like, look, if you want to just have one thing to live for, and that's revenge, then you're going to end up like me. And what's there to live for? There's so much more.
Right.
So if you come with me, you're dead. And
it was such a good moment, man.
I mean,
perfect for those two characters.
For her to say Sandor, thank
his
you.
name,
like, it's like, yep, that's the last time they'll see each other again.
Yep, and so it was. As Sandor Clegane climbed the towers, he runneth into Cersei, Qyburn, and, well, the mountain. The other Clegane
Franken Mountain.
Yes, you got it. And
some of the best cinematic scenes here, and there you go, right there, where they have their face off after Qyburn.
Check the next picture I have. Oh, I think the next picture might be Qyburn's head exploding.
Yeah, I watched that 3 times today because right there's blood coming out the back, stuff coming out his eye, but then when he gets tossed,
it like cracks him like an egg.
It's like the whole yolk, the whole brain comes out.
It's like hitting the back of a toothpaste. That part right there. When the dragon flies over the crack in the whole thing,
that's poster size.
So we get
there.
Clegane Bowl. Oh gosh, we get Clegane Bowl. And man, was it awesome! I mean, yeah, if it wasn't the most fan servicey thing in the episode, but man, if it wasn't like the coolest fucking thing, it was awesome.
I mean, everything from their swords making contact to, Franken Mountain doing his patented finisher move, which is the stabbing of the eye sockets and ripping of the skull apart. But that wasn't successful because, our boy the Hound kept stabbing him in the neck, face, neck, and then all of a sudden right through the middle of the face and out the back of the head.
Well, before that he stabbed him in the gut between armor and everything. He pulled it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. He
threw him, took all his armor off. He was like
as a bad guy monster should do. But what's this? I'll just take this out and show it to you and keep on kicking your ass.
And then you think, well, me and Pete, since we know they're zombies so well, you figured, hey. Well, he gets...
chop his head off or take his brain out.
Right.
But nope.
Nope, that doesn't work either because he's still like... And Hound, after getting his head almost popped, one of his eyes squished in, he's like, fuck it! And he just fucking tackles him off, dude.
Mm-hmm. And they go both off the highest leftover point of the Red Keep all the way down to the most fiery pit of what's left under the Red Keep.
Their rivalry started with flames and ended with flames.
And like Jaime and Cersei, they were brought in the world together, and looks like they're gonna go out and take their last breath together.
And that's how it goes, man. As many people didn't like that scene either. You gotta admit that it was pretty symbolic. I mean, Cersei getting buried by the very thing that she lived and loved the whole time, the Red Keep, and the person she loved and was with the whole time.
I was much more touched by Tyrion saying goodbye to Jaime than her pleading, "Don't let me die."
Right, they were definitely humanizing her a lot, or at least trying to.
The amount of pain and grief you've given everyone else. I mean, really, her big victory was when she blew up the
Great Sept.
The Great Sept. That was her big victory. Okay, give her that. I was kind of satisfied for her, and that was the only time I was. At this point, I'm like done. I'm like, let's end this.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, she could have a scene with her and Dany, this and that, and maybe Cersei could have had a moment where she blew up a bunch of wildfire. Speaking of, the wildfire did go off in the city a few times as the dragon fire spread more and more. Some old pots that the Mad King left, presumably, but Cersei never set a wildfire trap. I was expecting that to happen.
We all were expecting a lot of things to happen, not only with wildfire and like surprise attacks and things like that, but also just the military strategy of everything. Right. And instead it was Dany and Dragon, the show.
It was basically showing how strong it is. And just like George R. R. Martin said at some point throughout the history of this entire series, is that having a dragon back in those days, at least in his world, is like having a nuclear weapon. I mean, you have a weapon of mass destruction, a dragon that can literally shoot pretty much a laser beam of red-hot fire that literally shoots and spreads and blows up buildings when it hits shit. I mean, that's how strong these things are.
Not just a laser beam, like a big wide laser beam. I mean, it's taking out like chunks of like huge buildings.
Yeah, it actually at one point it flew by one of those towers and chopped it and had like a lightsaber.
That was one of my favorite. I mean, there was a lot of dragon fire, but that right there,
that was dope, dude.
That was totally dope.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's some wildfire blowing up there as Drogon flies in. I mean, it was ruthless, man.
And just when the fans thought like, okay, Jon's trying to get his men to to fall back and all
Right.
that. But then he's sort of forced to battle because people are coming at him, and he's just like slice, stab, slice, stab.
Like with no emotion. I mean, he has emotion, but he's just so like, fuck.
Put the sword away, take it out, put it away. It's like, what
He's so struggling, and like, I mean, he's seeing at this point his northern men
silence is golden.
It is golden, man. You can see it on his face, but he's watching not only all this destruction, but also his own men kill people and rape people.
It's almost as if like, wait, what did you guys learn from the Great War? Obviously nothing. You're sitting here pillaging, plundering, murdering, slaughtering women, children, old men, and women and stuff. It's like
you don't think that you had been so pro-life after the zombie war.
And that's the thing, is that I understand a lot of the fans' grief about Danny, but really all that extra minutes of the slaughtering of people on the ground, not just the scorching from above, I think that kind of overfilled people's cups.
Oh, it definitely
cups
did.
Of like anger and fear.
Oh yeah, and you know what else they did to really put us on the ground game? They put us in the perspective of one of our favorite characters as she ran for her life. And though she does have very close connections to death, and even pretty much killed the embodiment of death in the physical realm, the Night King, she had it kind of out for her here in this episode.
We got to see this perspective with Jon, with Tyrion, and now with Arya.
And man, is it gruesome.
What we mean by that is the camera perspective. But yes,
be ready,
gruesomeness.
Running around. At this point, it's like everything's falling. People are just running everywhere.
She at a certain point, she's helping this woman, Nora, and her daughter.
Gosh.
And I think they just plugged that in to sort of show, no matter how hard you try to help, it doesn't matter.
And also a familiar face. Like, this is just a common person you've never seen, but let's show this face a couple times so you recognize it throughout the episode and then kind of relate to the person. But she's just running everywhere. There's a dragon overhead. And she's still getting pushed around everywhere. Boom. And wait till she gets to this scene here. She's still running. So crazy. Then she gets in this crowd of people. And it's just like, try to keep up.
That'd be so cool to be an extra in that movie. But you know what? You have to be a celebrity or a superstar ball player to get a little part.
But definitely there's a picture there. The prophecy Bran had did come true, where you saw the shadow of the dragon flying over King's Landing. Well, they made sure to show that shot and then pan to Drogon blasting everybody away.
And the ash falling like snow.
It was gruesome. And yeah, Arya trying to save that girl and her family and her mom, and them getting killed and blasted.
What great makeup jobs! I mean, not just Frankenmountain's work when he showed his face.
Yeah.
But also Arya, like at some points with the blood splattered across her face, it looked like she had white ash powder. Then she had yellow. Then it was all kinds of
different kinds of muds and rubble and blood and
well done.
dirt. Yeah, it was really well done, and great actor again, Macy Williams, man. Just the way that it feels, and it was crazy. But with so many character arcs completed, like the Hounds and Jaime and Cersei, and little lesser characters like Euron and such, we finally have the kind of end the King's Landing, the ultimate nuclear winter, so to speak. The ashes Peter just mentioned, as everything kind of settles. Jon's out of the gone now. He got his men back. Tyrion's just looking in complete disgust and awe. And just when you think Arya got torched by Drogon, she rises from the ashes, looking at all the destruction. Notices the burnt, charred carcasses of the little girl and mom. And you guys notice
and
the
now
little girl.
You know why she was helping them out, just so they could set up that scene of her being like, "I failed. They're charred."
Well, not just that. The whole time the little girl was holding, when she had a little item in her hand.
She knew it was them.
It was a white horse, and then she knew it was them because she saw the burnt white horse, and then she looked up from the burnt body and saw a real white horse. A white horse covered in blood that almost looks like the colors of a weirwood tree, white and red. That could possibly be a delivery from Uber. From Uber what? Uber Bran. Bran being like, "Here's a ride for you, homie." But probably not even that. Hopefully Bran helped. But if anything, it symbolized...
It wasn't Strickland's horse, because that thing got broken in half when he got thrown off of it.
Yeah, that thing was steamrolled by that explosion, dude. This horse was just there to show beauty amongst the destruction. It was there to possibly show some symbolism and connection to what in the Bible about the 4 horses of the apocalypse, how death rode a pale mare, a pale horse. Death being Arya. Arya essentially is death at this point. Her god is death. She has killed the embodiment of death. She's pretty much death. And death rides that pale mare off into the sunset in the episode. And man.
So what do you think?
What a fucking
I mean, we'll
episode.
get to it later, but like, what do you think, everybody? You think Arya is gonna be like the soul saver again? Like she's gonna, save everyone in the last episode or not? But think about that, stew on that for a second. But I want to ask you, Aaron, do you think Jaime and or Cersei survived the crumbling of the Red Keep? They're in the basement. They're in the bowels. Every hole is clogged. Maybe there was a crawl space. I don't know. What do you think?
I want to say no. They're both splattered.
Yeah. Or
but
just ran out of air.
I said, one or the two. I said, if anything, Cersei's completely dead. Jaime might be alive.
Come out,
but that'll be a far pull because he's already been stabbed a few times.
Yeah, let's not have Jaime Lannister finally get his name in the book like he wanted to and kill the Dragon Queen. Let's let someone else do it.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna do it.
Let's hope he's just. Let's let this list of deaths continue until we have one final death.
But as we get into the predictions of the next episode, we will show the preview first. But man, let's go ahead and just show the preview for next week's episode.
Yeah,
then we can talk some predictions, or not next week's, tonight's episode. Then we can talk predictions for tonight's episode, and then we'll go ahead and I got something little to say to some people, some certain fans out there. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and do a preview for tonight's episode.
Can we whisper sweet nothings to those fans?
The series finale of Game of Thrones.
After the relentless attack.
Tyrion just being like, what the fuck? Red Keep destroyed.
Well,
Arya being like, I'm gonna kill that bitch. Tyrion like, I'm done being the hand. And there she is, the Queen of Ashes.
I wonder where she's walking out of.
I think she's walking out of the Red Keep.
What's left of the Red Keep.
Yeah, there's some stairs on the Red Keep. I think she's just kind of walking down.
Because she took out the tower that was like the tower where the right hand would make all his decisions. That was the one that, little bitch boy king at the time, Joffrey, was like, I don't want to walk up all the way up there for a meeting. That thing she took out was like one of the first things she took out.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just wondering, like, what's left? Is the throne room even left?
Well, you saw Tyrion look at it. Remember, it was just like all the towers are leveled. It's pretty much like
splintered rubble.
The rest is just the heavy base of the Red Keep, and that's pretty much it. And that's where I think the throne room's at. I bet the throne's still intact. I bet she's kind of outside of some main gala where some steps are at.
It makes sense now after seeing that preview we just showed.
With all of her crowd. So, man, what do you think? Predictions, Pete?
Well, I think her relentless attack is now over against the innocent and the murder, murdering people and all of that. As far as predictions go for the next episode,
on the final episode, not the next.
The final episode of the final season of the entire series of Game of Thrones. That's a big question. But I would have to say, unfortunately, Dany's going to die at the hands of one of the main characters left.
Yes.
And that Jon will probably not take control unless there is a fast forward. Like, unless they show you, 10 years ahead of time.
Right.
And then he will end up becoming the King of Kings.
I think that Dany's definitely dead, no doubt. Depending on who it is, I'm not entirely sure, but I'd say my top guess is definitely Jon. I think not only is he the most obvious, but he's also he's the best for story.
I can see him all teary-eyed taking her out.
That'd be the best for story.
I can see Arya all cold taking her out.
Yeah, the same thing. I can see Arya taking her out too.
I could see a long shot Jaime coming out of the rubble and doing it, or Tyrion stabbing her behind the back. But you know what? I think Tyrion dies. I think that if he shows her face anywhere near Grey Worm or Dany, that he is dead.
Tyrion's probably going to get executed. They're probably going to put it up on some kind of they're probably going to go to that dragon pit, and Tyrion's probably going to get roasted in it. But if he doesn't, he'll live, probably because Jon saved him and then killed Dany because of it. Now, Arya, I think, has a very good chance of killing Dany because at this point I think she's pretty much going to want to and probably get very close. Again, though, I'm going to say Jon's probably going to stop her from doing it unless they trick us that
And then,
she does it.
You know what? That's a good one. I can see Jon stopping Arya, but then doing it himself anyway.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's going to realize that he's the one who has to do it.
I think...
Because he's going to realize that he is the king. And I think he will be king, but I think if they do it, they say he'll be king, they'll have a time skip, and then he's going to be like, actually, I don't want it anymore. I just kind of got things on the right track. Now you guys take over. I'm going to go live at the wall or something.
What if Dany is like, you know what? Continue to slaughter. I got to set my GPS on Dragon. I'm going to Winterfell to scorch Little Red.
That'd be 8 up.
And then when she comes back...
Bran wargs in the Drogon and flips her off and is like...
Well, that is...
Flies away.
No, because extravagant things like that we've predicted before never came to fruition.
Yeah, I know. Bran
so that's not
into
going
a
to
dragon,
happen.
right.
But yeah, that's...
Are they showing Bran this episode?
No, exactly. That's the main thing, is that no matter who kills Dany or how it happens, even if she lives... I mean, I doubt they're going to just have her just ultimately just like, you know what, continue her onslaught and just dominate and it ends. Like, people will lose their minds if that happens. And that's not going to happen.
I'll put it this way. I don't think she's going to be
characters-
like, okay, King's Landing is destroyed, but I'm good now. I'm back to my normal self. She's not back to her normal self ever again. I think at this point, she's like strictly like, anybody ever opposes me, I'm burning you down.
Yeah, she's treating it like this. You guys all effed up.
Yeah.
You had the chance to bend the knee, obey me, and go about it the right way so we could have that wheel broken of tyrants ruling the world. And now it's like, well, you had the best opportunity and you failed, so guess what? Now it's just pure rage, fire, and fear for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, look, I say the closest thing to her burning innocent people, and it's really not because they were part of an army, but was Sam's father and brother.
Yeah.
Though they were part and they were working against her and they didn't want to bend the knee, at this point, what they did that for a reason, because they wanted us to have two characters that we could connect to, a character we loved. You had one that normally we wouldn't have cared who died because he was an asshole to Sam anyway, his father. But his brother, Sam, actually looked up to him. But that guy was kind of stuck in between.
Yeah,
he loved his brother Sam, but he looked up to his father and wanted to be the man of the thing. Yeah, he's dumb, but ultimately they've scorched them for a reason because they wanted to bring that conflict later to Sam. So you'd realize that a character like Sam can even though he didn't like his father, can still feel what he felt when Dany said that.
Will we see Sam again in the last episode?
Yeah.
Will we see anybody that's at Castle Black like our boy Tormund? Tormund, yeah.
Maybe.
Will we see Brandon Stark / the Third Eye Raven?
Yeah, and Sansa too. We'll see both.
Do
of them.
something. Actually, do something extravagant.
Not extravagant. I think he's just gonna say that the White Walkers are still gonna come back later again.
In the next 1,000 years.
Yeah,
and
they always come back.
All right, so time to rebuild the wall, do all
Which
this
is going to
stuff.
make Jon, I think, go back to the wall eventually.
That's where he wants to be. It's really awkward, but it's also poetic. Because it's like, you know, all these things, all these options, all these things that are meant to be that he wants and doesn't want and all that.
Well, how does,
What it comes down to is just freezing your ass off with the rest of the homies and getting shit prepared for the right reasons is all he really wants.
I mean, think about it. What did Aemon Targaryen, the blind Targaryen up at the wall, what did he do to get away from his heir to the throne?
I guess technically,
he went to the wall.
The great uncle of Jon? Is he the great uncle?
Yeah,
right?
yeah, Jon's great uncle. And guess what he did when he was up for the throne, when it was his turn? He said, I don't want it, and went to Castle Black.
Took a hard pass.
Yeah. But such a hard pass that he had to go to Castle Black because of it. Not that they made him. He just was like, that's what I have to do to break the heir.
Mm-hmm. But he was one of those wise enough Targaryens that was the correct side of that coin that could have ruled justly and wisely.
Yes, he could have been a very, very good king, but he chose not to because he didn't want it. So, but his only way to escape was there. There's someone else, but I think he might play that same game.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see ultimately.
I can see that.
In tonight's episode,
I think that's your best prediction of the whole show.
Yeah.
I think that is. I think the fact that Jon follows the footsteps of his great uncle in that respect.
Right.
And it is sort of like the true essence of Jon Snow, Jon Stark, Aegon the Sixth. I mean, all the embodiment is right there. And
so we'll see, man. I mean, I wouldn't be upset with that ending. I won't be upset with really anything unless they're like, they pan out at the end and it's George R. R. Martin sitting up in heaven or something. That's the only thing that would make me mad. Something stupid like that. But otherwise, I'm going to be happy with the ending.
He's not just in heaven. He's like sitting on a director's chair, like eating like Ben and Jerry's. Nah, it's like stuck in his beard. He's like, oh, that's a good chunk. Ow.
Yeah, right. And that's what it's going to be.
Credits roll.
Right. Oh my god, damn. What is this episode? Family Guy? No. I think I'm going to have a good time with it. But regardless, you guys got to remember.
It's good to be nervous.
Right.
It's good to be upset. It's good to have emotions because the art that is Game of Thrones is affecting you because that's what it is. It's art.
It's art. It shouldn't be affecting you. It's doing its job.
If you're watching something and you just have no emotion to it, like all these dumbass sitcoms and stupid-ass crime mystery shows, then like you're wasting your time.
Well,
at least I think it's a waste of my time.
Well, that's where people would be like, "Well, I was invested for years, and this story's just ripping out from under me."
No. It's just the end of the...
Right. It's just the end,
yeah.
And it's not turning out the way you, as an individual, want it. Or many groups of people, so many people that they're signing a petition to try to get HBO to redo it. Well, they're never gonna fucking redo it. They got your money already. The actors aren't gonna fucking redo it.
They don't just say everyone. It's not like the end of a football game that actually they scored, like take the band off the field, bring the players out the tunnel, we got it. No, it's a huge multi-million-dollar production.
Yeah,
it doesn't work that way. People take
stop
your
being
petitions
children
and use it for something that's going to change the real world for the better.
Imagine being so entitled that you try something so big to change something like a TV show. It's a piece of art. It's already done. Granted, the way they got to the end point could have been different, but the end point's going to be the same in the books too. So if you don't like that end game, who's to tell you?
It doesn't mean that we weren't upset. I was upset. I mean,
I was
Dany,
so upset when
Jon,
Dany
and Tyrion are my favorites from the very, very get-go.
But we're upset in the way that it's
they're
like... They're
alive still, though.
It's like,
We're going into the last episode of the last season of the whole series, and the three of them are still technically alive.
I'm upset as if I like really knew Dany, like she was a sister to me, and I'm seeing my sister turn evil and destroy a city. That's what it's like. That's where I get upset. But I'm not upset at like, oh, well, it's bad writing. Look, okay, enough with the bad writing shit. You're not the one writing the fucking story, so stop trying to make your fan like. There's so many YouTube videos out there, people like, I rewrote season 8 to be better, and it's like, sweet, who cares?
Write your own book and try to sell it to a production company. Then go for it.
Go for
More
it.
Power to you.
Yep, exactly. Because you didn't do it, so now you're whining about it, and that's my final blast before the final episode.
My
of Game of
final
Thrones.
blast is Dany. I'd never looked at her like a sister. I looked at her like, oh my god, I am in love.
Right.
Like I fell for her and her character. Even in some of her most vain moments throughout the seasons, I was still like just mesmerized by her. Not just how she looked, but how she spoke all the different languages, how she took control. That was like, ooh, that was sexy. And even when she was like angry before she went on the murder spree, like that, I liked that Dany more than the sweet innocent one. I know it sounds kind of morbid.
She just was more determined there.
But there was more for her, the actress, to play with there. There was more for her to express, and she knocked it out of the park. I think everyone did a great job.
And that's where ultimately it ends up being an amazing kind of ending to this show, because it was always going to end with her being the Mad Queen. I mean, the signs were fucking there. Yeah, again, they could have eased into it a little more in terms of just more content to show her going even more mad.
That was the one thing, because it's a shorter season.
Right.
Even though there was some longer episodes, they did... How do you say? They kind of.
They double stuffed it.
Yeah.
They double stuffed it, and well, that's gonna happen, man.
Happens in regular movies.
It does.
It's gonna happen in a series.
So enjoy it. Enjoy it as this big last final spectacle that is Game of Thrones. Love it. Love it for the rest of your life, or hate it for the rest of your life. I don't give a shit, because guess what? There's more. A World of Ice and Fire.
More to enjoy.
Coming soon with Blood Moon. The somewhat official, they're not officially official, title for the show that's prequel coming out based on the events of the Long Night, the original Long Night, thousands of years.
Does George need some extra writers to just get some shit done, or what, man?
Well, they're not going to be, for his books?
Yeah.
No, he's going to write that shit himself, but apparently he's back to almost finishing Winds of Winter, which is the next book. But then there's still 2 books he's got to finish: Winds of Winters and A Dream of Spring. When's a winner's gonna have all the battle? What? That must have been the alarm to go get ready.
Oh my God.
I know,
Yeah.
God, bro. To go get ready for Game of Thrones, because you know it's go time here. And we will be back.
I'm so excited. I just got a little too excited on my own throne right here.
Right. We will be back next week.
A little wildfire kind of fuming up the room right now.
Yeah, I know, bro. Thanks. We will be back next week to review the series finale of Game of Thrones. Not only to review it and say what we loved and thought about that crazy episode, but I think also to give some favorite points about the series. And then I think eventually, if not right after that, a week or so, I think I would love for us to come back, Pete, and do an ultimate just Game of Thrones discussion podcast about the whole show in general.
Oh, absolutely.
With maybe like get some other people involved, like Derek and stuff.
Yeah, we had a roundtable discussion with more pictures, more previews, more just discussion and on character development, on cinematic development, on our production rather, and just our feelings of,
just to show our love for the show.
Past, present, and future of the world of Game of Thrones.
And we're excited to bring it to you guys. So you guys go enjoy the series finale. We're definitely going to go enjoy it after some enjoyment.
I'm nervous, excited, everything all mixed up.
Oh, it's going to be wacky, guys. So love you guys. Take it easy. We'll be back next week. Stay fly. Stay high. In the sky like dragons.
And always enjoy the enjoyment. You know we will.